أبناء سوريا الأبية، أبناء أمتنا العربية والإسلامية، في ظل الأوضاع التي تشهدها الجمهورية العربية السورية من حرب شنت على الوطن من عدد من الدول التي تريد تمزيق الأمة العربية والإسلامية، ومن خلال استهدافهم لمواقف سوريا الداعمة لحرية القرار الوطني والكرامة الإنسانية والمقاومة، البلد الذي ظل شامخا عبر قرون من الزمن في مواجهة العدوان الصهيوني وسياساته التوسعية. إن استهداف شعبنا السوري وجيشنا الباسل ما هو إلا استهداف للصمود والمقاومة، واليوم شعبنا يقدم خيرة أبنائه للدفاع عن سوريا وشعبها ضد الغطرسة والإذلال والتبعية والتجزئة للمنطقة، فهم يريدون تفتيت سوريا كما فعلوا بعدد من الدول الأخرى. من خلال ذلك كله فإن مجلس الإفتاء الأعلى في الجمهورية العربية السورية يهيب بشعبنا العربي السوري القيام بالواجب الشرعي. أولا، إن الدفاع عن سوريا الموحدة وعن الشعب السوري فرض عين على جميع أبناء شعبنا، كما هو فرض عين على جميع الدول العربية والإسلامية، ونناشد شعبنا في سوريا للوقوف صفا واحدا مع جيشنا العربي السوري وقواتنا المسلحة، وندعو أبناءنا للقيام بفريضة الالتحاق بالجيش العربي السوري للدفاع عن وطننا الذي باركته السماء ودعا له إمام الأنبياء، ونحذر من الوقوف في وجه جيشنا العربي السوري وقواتنا المسلحة، حيث يعد ذلك خيانة ومساهمة في إضعاف قوته التي أعدت وما تزال للمعركة الفاصلة ضد الصهاينة ومن يقف وراءهم ممن يساهم في تحقيق أهداف العدو. ثانيا، نداء محبة لأبنائنا في
Hello everyone, welcome to GGN. Today is Tuesday, March 12th, 2013. I'm Darko. Alright, you saw that video there. It's basically a call to arms by the Syrian government. I'm just trying to show you what's going on there. It's kind of happened, a similar situation happened in Libya, where they were just basically arming everybody and trying to help repel these foreigners that are being backed by the West. Then you have this article from the Washington Post. Syria, oppressed by war, deploys all-female units. The Syrian government is arming and training Syrian women to fight for Assad. Really, they're fighting for Syria, putting it out in front of the Pentagon when it comes to sending women to the front lines. So, you know, I guess when the West does it, it's called equality and what is it, gender neutrality and equal rights and tolerance. But I guess when Gaddafi or Assad does it, well, then it's just exploiting, right? An act of desperation. But it says here that they're carrying Kalashnikovs, rifles, performing drills and chanting slogans in support of Assad. Be prepared, Syria, stand up, Assad, they shout. With our blood and our soul, we will protect you. So they have heavy machine guns and grenades to storm and control checkpoints. The formation of the forces comes amid speculation that the regular Syrian army, depleted by defections, which is not true, desertions and casualties, is being stretched by the effort to suppress the Syria's 22-month-old uprising. Most of my viewers know that it's not an uprising. This is not peaceful activists. These are armed, they're heavily armed terrorists, foreigners out that are not from Syria, being supported by NATO and the UK and the United States, and they're being trained in Jordan by the CIA along with other entities. We've even seen the article about CIA, Blackwater, or whatever they want to call themselves now, that they're training. They're actually carrying out missions inside. Homs was one of them. Actually, CIA, MI6, and Mossad carrying out missions inside Syria, along with these terrorists. These Lionesses for National Defense is what they're called. It's part of an effort to supplement the army with the National Defense Force militia made up of civilian volunteers. So, a lot of propaganda going around this article here, because I saw another article about militias and Assad's militias murdering people. They're responsible for it. I'm not saying that they're not, but the Syrian Free Syrian Army they've just carried out another massacre on the river, on one of the rivers, dumping bodies. They did it a month prior, like 40 people or something like that. So pretty grave stuff. And from all the articles and news I've seen, the morale is still pretty high among the Syrian Arab army. So the fact is that they're just the foreigners, the amount of foreigners, terrorists that are inside the country are escalating. So U.S. condemns terrorist attack on Assad's troops. So United States on Monday condemned what it called a terrorist assault on the Syrian regime forces who came under fire after crossing into Iraq last week, an attack claimed by an al-Qaeda group. So Victoria Nuland said any kind of terrorism like this is something we should condemn. So how about you stop supporting the terrorists? And, that would be a good start. She also renewed Washington's concerns about al-Qaeda and its affiliates that they are arming and basically supporting from trying to take advantage of the violence and chaos in Syria for their own ends. So they want to set up Sharia law like they have in Libya, where they just executed a bunch of Christians the other day. They don't. So it's just unbelievable what's going on here, because these people help create and sow the seeds of chaos and violence, and that's what the West wants until they get what they want, like screaming little whiny brat babies. They wanted to get Assad out of there. So, mortar attack in Damascus kills 6 civilians. And we know who those were, right? Because they had a mortar attack just like all the other mortar attacks that come in from the rebels. I'm not just making this stuff up. It struck a Christian neighborhood and a football stadium, killing 6 civilians, wounding at least 24 in what appeared to be, at least they admit this, the AP, an escalating campaign by rebels to sow fear in the Syrian capital. So, remember last time they tried to blame it on the Syrian government, when it was them. They fired over the border into Turkey, killed some people. Turkey detains 5 Syria border car bomb suspects. Say they detained 5 people suspected of involvement in a deadly car bombing last month on a border crossing between Syria and Turkey. So you think Syria, like I said, they've been the biggest sponsor of terror besides Qatar and Saudi Arabia and U.S. and UK, along with skyjacking and arming the terrorists and that. So you think that they're doing something good here, but actually what they're doing is they're saying that they're linked to Syria's intelligence agencies, which doesn't make any sense. That they would be, intelligence agencies would be setting up car bombs and carrying out terrorist attacks against their own people. That doesn't really make much sense. Militants blow up Muslim shrine in Syria's Raqqa. So militants, these pious Muslims, fighting against the Syrian government, destroyed a holy Muslim shrine in the northern city. So that's right, they blow up Christian Catholic churches as well too. Denmark TV used game image in Syria report. So this goes to show you how bad it's getting in Syria. They have a lot of ancient culture there and a lot of different religions that have lived there peacefully for a long time. And these terrorists are taking a lot of stuff, looting it to fund their terrorist activities when they don't get cash coming directly for like Obama, who promised $60 million. I think it was $60 million. It could have been billion. Who knows these days, right? To these terrorists. So until it gets there, they just go ahead and loot and kidnap for ransoms and stuff of journalists. So the Danish television channel has admitted it mistakenly used an image from a computer game to illustrate the news report about Syria. It used a backdrop behind the news anchor on February 26th. It came from an adventure game, Assassin's Creed. Another one, a video from Syrian army tank shows the toll of urban warfare, and it's about 5 minutes long. Go through there and check it out and just see how crappy and destroyed it really is. Israel likely to be next target of Syrian rebels, says General. So, military chief of Israel warned that some of the rebel forces trying to create a regime change for the Brookings Institute may soon turn their attention southward and attack Israeli settlements in the Golan Heights. So, actually, they've already been around there and they kidnapped UN workers. It came out later that they said that they were rescuing those UN workers along the Israeli border. But the terrorists are there. They're occupying the border between Israel and in Syria. So when the Syrian government goes there to try to get them out, everything's blamed on the Syrian government for shelling or something like that. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm speaking for the government here. It's insane how one-sided it really is. It'd be nice just to try to get it somewhat equal as far as all the BS that is out there about what's going on. So they do admit today, they admit here, we see terrorist organizations that are increasingly gaining footholds in the territory and they are fighting against Assad. So the thing is that, like I said before, this plays into the whole strategy, defense strategy, really offensive strategy of Israel, which all of their land has, for them, especially like Golan Heights, they stole that. So it's, it says here they stole it from Syria in 1967, just like they stole Palestine. And so that's how they have to maintain it. When they occupy a land, they have to always seem like they're under the attack. So these terrorists are actually working for the Zionists, which is so funny because these Sunni Muslims act like they hate Zionists, but they're actually working for them. I don't know if they've gotten that memo yet, but they do. Syrian rebels vow to conquer Golan refugees, and refused Israeli aid. So get this, Syrian refugees might be desperate, injured, and starving, but they won't accept Israeli aid as the terrorists vow to reconquer Golan Heights. Yeah, this is typical globalist and Zionist strategy, which is when you want to take over a country or whatever of people, and you want to take out their leader, like they do it in Somalia a lot, and places like that, where they go in there and they bomb the hell out of you. They create all this crap going on. There's no trade, no economy going on, because they don't allow you, right? They don't allow you to have that unless they have their puppet in there. So they'll just create chaos all the time, and that's what you get. And like in Japan and Haiti, what do? Well, they do something like that where they kill a bunch of people and then they come in with humanitarian aid. So, and usually that's the people that help cause it. So these people, the Syrians aren't stupid. They know who's causing this, which is Israel, so they don't want their stupid aid, right? Perez, NATO Secretary General, discussed strategic cooperation. So Israel met with NATO Secretary at the NATO headquarters in Brussels. They discussed the importance of strengthening the strategic cooperation between Israel and NATO in the security and technology fields. So the two terrorist leaders stressed their concern regarding the situation on Israel's northern border. So they're monitoring attempts to build up weapons by Hezbollah and stockpiling weapons and missiles for terrorism and war. So terrorism don't like competition in the market of terrorism. Attacks and anti-Arab bigotry more acceptable in Israel. So a spat of attacks by young Israeli Jews against Arabs indicates anti-Muslim and anti-Arab bigotry is becoming more acceptable in many sectors of Israeli society. So they've arrested 4 people, including 2 minors, over the bludgeoning on Saturday of an Arab Israeli citizen on holiday with his wife. That was at least the 4th attack in Israel in the last month targeting Palestinians and Arab citizens, about 20% of Israel's population, like I mentioned before, of 7.7 million people. Actually, the Jews in Israel actually made up about 7% originally of what they now call Israel. So it was like 80%, 90% Palestinians or Arabs. It says here, settler attacks Palestinian shepherd, security officer on West Bank outpost, documenting attack. Documented attacking Palestinian shepherd officer, says he was just pushing shepherd away after. So the officer claimed 2 Palestinian children had approached the Jewish outpost. A video obtained by Ynet shows a security officer grabbing the shepherd and punching him as an IDF soldier looks on. The security officer is later seen shoving the Palestinian running towards the herd to scare the sheep away. You go in there and check it out. So another Palestinian turned to the officer and said, "You're hitting him, and he's not hitting you. There are cameras, everything. There's even a soldier here." So at this point, the Palestinians asked that the officer be removed from the scene, as he said to the Palestinian man who was attacked, "You hit me now, and you're going to pay." So this whole thing about this iconic photo of this 4-year-old that was killed was supposedly by shrapnel or something from Hamas's own rocket. So they said, kill their own. They used the killings to blame the Jews. That is the very definition of evil. That's coming from Israel, so I'm not going to really say anything more. But is talk about using it as a political tool. It's like this thing about provoking, saying that they're known to incite provocations. Well, that's their land, right? They're constantly being moved and fired on. They're living in a living hell. So they're in complete survival mode. And for something like this, using it as a political tool, I guess it doesn't. I guess what since it's not a real photo, it wasn't actually Israel that killed the kid. Then it means that everything's all right and that they haven't done anything wrong. Israel, that is. So Netherlands advises retailers to replace "Made in Israel" labels. So the Dutch foreign minister said that retailers should replace "Made in Israel" with labels with a label reading "Product from Israeli Settlement, West Bank, Golan Heights, East Jerusalem." So the Netherlands foreign minister says, "We do not want to contribute to the economy of illegal settlements." Then you have Israel prepares for Obama with no-fly zones and snipers at junctions. So says security arrangements for the visit will be draconian, but police chief aiming for minimum impact on the lives of Jerusalem residents. So it'll be handled like a military operation with no room for errors. Well, of course, because we fund Israel, right? No, it's a no-fly zone because 7 Israeli military aircraft violate Lebanese airspace. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you.